What's up everyone and welcome to FAQ172. It's been a while, guys. You know, I thought that these FAQs were getting kind of stale, but then people are still kind of asking me questions, and you know, it's a good way. Start A, which means start A. If you put do not disturb on your phone, all your computers go in that mode as well. So I can record these nuts without getting interrupted. No, but people kept asking me questions, and you know, it's good to have a forum where I can answer them properly. You know, back in the day, I took a lot of pride into actually responding to comments on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, but it's just not possible anymore, unfortunately. And that kind of bums me out, that I can't do that anymore, because you know, I have to do all this other shit. But if I would sit around answering comments and questions all day, you know, not much work will be done. So, you know, this is a good platform for this. You can ask me questions and I'll do the best to answer them. How about that? Also, I washed my hair because I saw in the morning that I looked like shit, so for this occasion, I washed my hair. That's why it's so lush looking. Look at that. Enough talking. First question. User SS2LL9... Oh, you know what? This is the new YouTube user system, stupid shit. That you have an @ and then you have a name to identify yourself. Well, that's very unfortunate for him that he got this name and not like a good name. Anyways, fuck, will there ever be a new Mel Mornings with Louise? She's great in those videos. A legit good question, and also it's been a long time since Mel Morning. I agree. It's been a really long time. You know, those were really fun when we did them, but I think it's almost like the FAQs a little bit that, you know, after a while they go stale. We really need to have something to talk about each time. It's not as easy to come up with content for that, and also to try and make it, you know, good content and not just us sitting and talking about bullshit. So, you know, there will be something at least. We're gonna do an FAQ at least with me and Louise. So there will be that. But other than that, I mean, she's really busy. She's taking care of all that shit up there that's outside that door. So, yeah, she's really busy. And but we're gonna do something. I promise, okay? I know a lot of you guys, you bring in your wives to watch the channel to watch me and Louise, which is a good thing. I appreciate that. And it's also nice whenever I'm out, like at shows here in Stockholm, the past 2 shows I've been to, a lot of people are coming up and saying that they're watching my channel with their wife or girlfriend. You know, that really warms my heart, because that means that it's, you know, we're going outside the general audience of the guitarist guy. And, you know, that it just makes me proud. A little bit proud. Is it okay to be proud? No? Well, okay. I'm a Swede. I know how to not be proud. That's like, they teach us that from early days when we're kids. Like, don't be too proud. You know? Evil things are gonna happen if you're too proud. Yeah, programmer 5893. Hey Ola, can you share some thoughts from your experience of how the music industry had been during the eras of 90s, 2000, 2010 and nowadays? Like, what are some of the changes you have recognized? And can you share some tips on how to make it out there as a musician or a band nowadays? Thanks. Okay, so I can probably not answer this question, because during the 90s and 2000s, I wasn't really in the music industry or in the music biz. Sure, I had bands, and the bands that I had, we tried to get a record deal. That was the thing about the late 90s and the 2000s, was that, you know, the point with playing in a band, you know, obviously we love playing in a band, but to exceed to the next level, we wanted to be signed by a record label. And that was like, okay, until then we're gonna record demos and, you know, update our sound, you know, with new songs. They're fresh new sound, and you know, we were developing as a band as we went on. So doing a full album and then release that really wasn't a thing for us, that we needed to make an album. So we did demos, we worked on our sound. I was working on my production skills as well, you know, because I was producing these and, you know, learning how to record and produce, record a drum kit and, you know, guitar tones and all that. So it was a learning process a little bit, and you know, I wouldn't want to release an album while I was learning and while the band was developing. But we did our demos and, you know, we played shows and all that. And then eventually we got a record deal and we did an album, but it sucked ass. Not the album, but the whole process sucked ass. And you know, then that's when I decided to start my own thing and do Feared, and you know, go back to basics of why I would make music in the first place, and it's, you know, to have fun. So eventually that was when I started YouTube as well, and all of that kind of kicked off, and now I'm in the Haunted, which is under a record deal and a record label, and it's changed a lot. 10 years ago, or like, you know, 5 to 10 years ago, when I was out doing clinics and stuff, I was talking a lot about how bands would, you know, or could get themselves out there today using social media and YouTube, and how they would do this. But nowadays, the industry works so quick and the business side is changing so fast. None of the stuff I said 10 years ago doesn't make sense today. I mean, fine, you still need to be on social media and, you know, be very active on social media and stuff, but it's become less important, and it's maybe going back a little bit about, you know, just having the raw talent and actually making kick-ass music that is more important now, because people are getting sick and tired of social media. So I can't say I can properly answer this question, but I gave it a try, and it's been weird, man, seeing this and how it's changed so fast. It's been really fast, man. So yeah, hope you got something out of that answer at least. Andrew B, 4027. Fuck, when will we be getting a proper look at the X-Type? For the past 3 years, I've been dodging this question on and off. And you know, I know people have been waiting for this, and my last promise was that 2022 was the year that we're gonna release the Solar X. And you know, 2022 is kinda ending, if you haven't noticed. There's not really too many days left, is there? But calm down, guys. We're gonna have an X this year. I promise, okay? You're gonna see it, you're gonna love it, hopefully, you know, I love it. But you're gonna love it as well, I hope. Just calm down. A little bit extra time. I assure you it's worth the wait, okay? Thank you so much. It's a good question. I'm sorry, it's just taking a long time. Things are fucking taking a long time nowadays, man. You know, designing a guitar and making samples and the mock-ups and stuff, shit like that takes time. You know, we have to make it good. And I'm not gonna release a shitty guitar. It has to be the sickest fucking guitar, you know? So there you go. Chris Lee, 6914. Fuck, hey Ola, how are you doing? I'm fine, thank you. Thanks, me too. Enough small talk. Dean Cadillac, you showed it in a video. What is your opinion on this? I just love the look. So after years, I bought one. It's a good modern looking Les Paul. Yes, the Dean Cadillac, baby. Can we find one? Let me see. Ola Englund. Ola Englund, Dean Cadillac. Do I have any videos where I'm playing a Dean Cadillac? Look at this! I'm a big fan of the Dean Cadillac. It's such a weird classic guitar, man. But, you know, I'm such a big fan of Testament and Eric Peterson, and you know, I love the way it looked on him when he was using the Dean Cadillac. I probably own like 5 different Dean Cadillacs, but I've also sold them because that's what I did back in the day before I had a YouTube channel. But there is a video here from 13 years ago. Look at this. That's my foot. And that's a black Cadillac right there. Back in the day when I didn't have any beard and mustache and I looked like a f***ing girl. I still look like a girl, but you know, at least I have more muscle. Yeah, man. So I think I have a couple of videos with the Dean Cadillac. That was it. I guess that was it. Anyways, yes, they are really cool looking guitars, but I definitely get why people would hate them because they are very special looking. And also you have the Dean headstock. I liked it. A lot of people, they hate it. Hayden McCary would love to understand more about how the gear you have is not yours, but your company's. Is it just a loan or is it for tax purposes, I mean? So interesting. Okay, very basic question actually, and it's probably because I talked about this in another video, how, you know, all of this that you see here, well, almost all of it, I don't personally own. It's the company that owns it. So when I started my YouTube channel, obviously I was doing it as a hobby, and all the guitars and the amplifiers that I had, that's something I privately bought, okay, for my own money that I worked up as an accountant. But eventually when I started doing this as a full-time job, you have to create a company because, you know, there's coming in more and more money, and there's only, you know, in Sweden at least, there's just an amount of money you can make as a hobby before you get taxated. So it will make sense to make your own company, and the good thing about owning a company and running a company is that you have money coming in, obviously, but it also means that the tools that you use for the company is also something you can deduct, so costs, basically. Very simple. And a guitar like this, which I use for, you know, making my videos and making music, because that's also something I do. I make music and for the Haunted and Feared and for my own name. All of these are tools that I need to, you know, sustain the business and make, you know, videos and make the music. So all of that means that when I bought a guitar like this, it's the company that bought the guitar, not me. So you have to differentiate Ola Englund as a private entity and a private person to the business side and, you know, the company that's printing t-shirts and all that. I have a salary. And I don't own too many guitars. I mean, obviously the guitars that I owned before I started the company are still mine. So these guitars right here, they're not really my guitars. They're the company's guitars, and you know, I use them for to create these videos. It might be a little hard to wrap your head around how this works, but it's actually very, very simple. Here we have Ola Englund as a private person. You know, I'm a person standing with my guitars that I purchased for my own money. And then we have the company that since then, as I started the company and I'm continuing to do this for a living, the company buys the guitars and it's a cost, okay? So, does that make sense? No? Okay, great. There's absolutely nothing weird about this. If you have your own, like, accounting firm, or if you're a lawyer with your own practice, you wouldn't need to buy a computer, and you buy that computer with your business money, obviously, and you deduct that as a cost. So basically the same in this sense, except that my tool is a computer and a guitar. Okay? Makes sense. Bradley Bat, what is the Will It Chug intro? Goes like da 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 na 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 da na 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 da na da na na. You know, dude, what? Is it this? Yeah, that's an intro I've had for a long time, and oh shit, it's really exploding. I can see the little audio file there that this is gonna be f***ed up. This is gonna be really distorted on your end, but who cares? No, but this is something I've had for, I don't know how old this clip is, but it's probably from the beginning, like 2012 or something like that, 2013. And I think it's an Axe effect that I recorded this with. And listen to that, it's not even in tune, man. But yeah, I've been using this for a long time, and you know, it's a good, solid intro. It sets the stage for my video, you know, that this is just, you know, it's all about metal, man, because with my videos, I don't really care about the other shit. I'm into metal, you know? So just to set the tone of my videos, it's a good intro. So it's called YouTube Intro Tordan Long. And I think Tordenfjorden, that it says, I think that's inspired by Fredrik Tordendahl, but I'm not sure what. Maybe, oh, you know what? Maybe it was when Aspects released their Fredrik Tordendahl amplifier back in the day, and I was using that for this. So that's probably it. That's how it works, man. You use the names as song names, and then I think this eventually became a Feared song as well. Santiago 7086, is Latin America not good enough for you? Why are you not coming to see Pantera's first show ever? No, okay. So I think this is in regards of Pantera. They're gonna play their first show now in Mexico and also in South America, in Chile and stuff like that now in December. And he's wondering, I was talking about maybe going to the first show, but that, you know, I'll probably wait until they come to Europe. And is Latin America not good enough for you? Well, no. What? What do you mean? Like, shit like that costs money, man. It's a lot of money to just fly to Latin America. I live in Europe. It's like across the world. It costs a lot of money. For that reason, since I know that Pantera is coming here, I don't have to, you know. I can save a little bit of money, okay? It's not like I'm made out of money or anything. Also, holy shit, am I excited, because this week is when we will see clips from the first show of Pantera in Mexico. I'm actually a little bit nervous. Stevel style, how are you able to write music on a regular? Like your Swallow Riff challenge, you and the contributors seem to create awesome music every week. I add the fact that I'm sure you are writing music for your bands as well. I've been struggling with writing music for months now, and when I do start an idea, it either becomes underwhelming or something happens to where I lose the motivation and become unhappy with its directions. Thoughts, please. Okay, excellent question. And actually, the reason why I started the Sunday with Ola Riff challenge and, you know, doing the Sunday with Ola intros was because I was having a rut where I basically didn't write anything for a full year. You know, to get out of that rut, you know, now I'm forcing myself, even though, you know, I'm still writing music here and there, but even though I'm on a time where I'm not writing a lot of music, I still force myself to write something for the Swola. And sometimes, you know, it's just like for practicing technique on guitar. Writing is also something you need to practice, and doing it more and more, eventually you'll become better at deciding if a riff is good or not, or what comes next and what makes sense and whatnot. You just have to practice all of that. So the Sunday with Ola Riff challenge is actually really good to just keep you practicing and to force yourself to write something for these drums. If you feel like, oh, you know, this is shit, I mean, who cares? You have to get it out of your system and do it more and more. Eventually, you'll become better and better, you know. And I definitely feel like with all the Swolas that I made, not all of them are great, but some stuff in there is pretty good, and I can eventually use that as a song or a riff or something like that. So it's been really good for me creatively to do these Sunday with Olas, because it really forces you to write. So good luck, man. I think you can do it, okay? John Holt, quick question, Ola. Have you been influenced at all by your dad? Do you or have you used any of his licks? Peace. No, I can't say that I've been influenced by my dad. Dad has never really taught me anything on guitar. You know, he was always playing guitar at home, but he never pushed me to start. It was always, you know, the bands that pushed me to start, and I wanted to learn the songs by the band. So, and I went to lessons and shit. So my dad didn't really influence me at all. You know, he teach me a bunch of like chicken picking licks, you know, because he's into, you know, some type of you know, guitar player's country, not the new country, but, you know, Chet Atkins and shit like that. So he taught me some of the chicken picking stuff, and but that's about it. You know, our styles are very, very different, and he's from a different generation. I really enjoy watching and listening to him playing guitar, though, because he is a really good guitar player, and I'm very proud of him. Okay? Stinger, hey Ola, will you start another clinic tour in the future? I don't know. I don't really like touring that much. And if I want to go tour, I like the formula we have with the Haunted, where we just, you know, we fly in, we play a show and have fun, and then we fly out. And with the clinic tours, it's a little bit more of an investment for me, because then I have to relearn all my songs. You know, the Haunted songs I played so many times, so I know them by heart. But, you know, my own songs, some of them I don't even play after I recorded it. Playing my own songs, that's going to be tough. So there's a lot more investment of preparing to go on a clinic tour. And also, there needs to be shit to talk about too. So I have to prepare that as well. So I would love to go out and do a clinic tour. But, you know, it has to be good too. I want it to be good. I want people to be able to go there and bring something with them back. You know, maybe some knowledge or some inspiration at least. And I don't want to do it half-assed. So I don't know, man. Maybe in the future that could be something I could do. Just not right now, because I'm just really busy with doing this, and I don't know. We'll see. Okay? Howdy, Ola. Here's my question. What is your inspiration for the Chug Pel? Thanks a lot. Your stuff rules. Thank you so much, Howie. So the Chug Pel, the inspiration for it, not really that much inspiration. It's just like, okay, I want to make a really sick-ass guitar pedal. You know, I've had some signature products in the past, like the Randall Satan, for instance, and, you know, guitars, but I haven't really done much more than that. You know, there's a lot of other options out there. People can do signature strings and guitar picks and, you know, delay pedals and distortion pedals, but I always thought that, you know, what's important to me is like the guitar that I'm holding and, you know, the amplifier that I play, and that's it. So the idea was just to basically design a pedal that gives you you know, the absolute saturated, chuggy, tight tone that you would get from a big-ass expensive amplifier, but for, you know, a fair price. This will probably get you. I don't want to become too salesy, you already see my videos, but I just want it to make sense, you know, I just want to make products that make sense, and that goes with what I like, and I like chuggy music. Chug, it's pretty easy, pretty standard. I have a very clear vision of what I like, and I'm trying to portray that into something and a product with the solo guitars and, you know, the new pedals that we're making. And I think it's pretty clear and easy where the inspiration is coming from. It's like, it's what I like in terms of tone. So thank you so much, Howie. That's a good question. Josh Hellstrom, hey Ola, first off, hope you and your family have a great Thanksgiving. My question is, what's your favorite Dimebag solo? Mine is The Sleep. Favorite Dimebag solo? The Sleep is definitely up there, man. It's definitely up there. But I think the solos that means the most to me are probably Floods and Cemetery Gates. And I just have a really soft spot for the ballad solos, man. Just like The Sleep, for instance. It's just like this really beautiful melodic phase. I'm a sucker for melody. Dimebag has the sickest leads on all the other songs. It always boils down to the melodic solos being the best, because they are the ones that stick for some reason. You know, when Dimebag passed, I was just listening a shit ton to Mel, and you know, you get these connections, and you feel the connections of the, you know, the emotion of that solo, and with the rain and all that. It's just so sad, and you know, you connect that with the time when he passed away, or I do at least, and it's just such a strong connection. It might not be the most technical, amazing, loving solo that I think is his best solo, but the emotional value of that solo is so high that it, you know, trumps any other of his solos, in my opinion. So the Floods is definitely my favorite solo. Cemetery Gates, obviously, too. Yeah, man, that's for me the emotionally best solo. That makes me the most emotional in that sense. So thank you so much for that question. Excellent. And that was it for FAQ172. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, post them in the comment section of this video, and I'll feature in the next one maybe. Also, if you want to support what we're doing right here on the business side aspect, you can buy a t-shirt from us that we print in-house. You know, Christmas is coming up. Maybe it's time to buy your loved ones a Chug t-shirt or something. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you have a great day.